transforming your learning to actually take your feedback and ask questions to the panelists today. And we have lots more coming through here as well. So, wow, we really are global here. We have quite a few people from tuning in from North America. And as mentioned, that we have people to the east in India, and quite a few people here in the UK as well. So I can see that also we're still getting lots more people tuning in. So for those who are just joining us, welcome. I'm Hugh Edwards from Gomo Learning, and I'm going to be hosting and facilitating today's session. So because of the number of people that we have tuning in, we're not going to be able to unmute you. However, through the question panel, you can just add comments as the presentation goes along, ask questions, and we're also going to be pausing during the course of the presentation to ask you for your thoughts and your questions about some of the subjects raised. And welcome Chris from Phoenix. And we also have, Mark from Charleston as well. Welcome to you all. Okay, so we're just at 3 o'clock. And so we're just going to start some introductions here, and then we'll start the presentation itself. Welcome to the Transforming Your Learning Strategy, particularly looking at the automotive sector with Volvo today. That in this webinar, we'll be exploring really the content creation, the distribution, and analytics required to improve learner behavior and retention within the automotive space. So we're going to look at how Volvo solved core learning challenges with in-team learning design and the impact that Gomo has had across alternative areas of the business. And most importantly, that we're going to hear firsthand Volvo's solutions, some of their most significant challenges. And that's why we're delighted to have with us Dolf Smuts, who's the Management and Performance Manager at Volvo. We also have Mike Alcock, the Managing Director of Gomo Learning, who's going to be guiding us through the webinar. And also I'm Hugh Edwards from Gomo Learning, who will be watching out for your questions and asking for your feedback. So Mike, I'll hand over to you.
Fantastic, thank you, Hugh. Thanks for the introduction. Hugh, just want to check that you can hear me okay?
Yes, I can indeed, Mike, and I'm sure everyone else can.
And also that you can see my screen with those 3 handsome chaps on it?
Indeed.
Thank you. Okay, well, thanks for the introduction, Hugh. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. I can see that there's more people joining literally as we speak, but we'll make a start. So quick introductions. My name is Mike Alcock. I'm Managing Director of Gomo Learning. I'll be facilitating this afternoon's session. You've just heard from Hugh. Hugh Edwards is a solution architect at Gomo Learning. Hugh has very kindly done the introductions. He'll be monitoring the questions as we go through the presentation. He'll be asking a few questions for you to type into the questions panel. But as we're going through the presentation this afternoon, if you have any questions at all, if you suddenly think, I'm not sure what that particular bit of terminology means, please type it into the questions panel. Hugh will be noting all of those down, and at the end of the presentation we'll sort of go through the questions that have come through throughout the session and try to answer them on your behalf. I'm also delighted to welcome this afternoon Dolf Smuts, who's Management and Performance Manager at Volvo Car Corporation. Really grateful for the time and effort he's put into both preparing for this event, for spending his time this afternoon, and for helping us to generate such a huge interest around the world in this particular webinar. So I will be handing over to Dolf shortly, but let's begin the formal presentation. Want to do a quick introduction to Gomo, and there's lots of new faces, lots of existing customers and friends of Gomo on the call this afternoon, but also lots of new faces who probably don't know who we are. So, quick introduction to Gomo first of all. What is Gomo? Well, we believe we're the world's leading cloud-based responsive HTML5 e-learning authoring tool. We don't just do authoring, we also do integrated hosting and analytics. So as well as being a platform for creating interactive e-learning content, we also have hosting and analytics, which allows organizations like Volvo to deliver Gomo content to the hands of their learners instantly and to get full XAPI analytics and understand learner behavior in incredible amounts of detail. Who uses Gomo? Well, our customers tend to be global organizations. Obviously today on the call we've got Volvo, but you can see some of the other people that are using Gomo today. The BBC is our latest customer. Nike are a long-time user, as are British Airways, United Healthcare, Burberry, and global organizations around the world. You don't have to be a global organization. We also have, 1- and 2-person e-learning companies that are developing content with Gomo. But if you are a global organization, then Gomo really solves the challenges that many global organizations face. In terms of where we stand in the market, we've been winning lots of awards. So in December of last year, just gone, Brandon Hall gave us gold for Best Advance in Content Authoring Technology. Really the Oscars of the e-learning business there. We got a gold from Brandon Hall. Craig Weiss, the world's most influential e-learning blogger for the last 2 years, he rates Gomo as the #1 authoring tool in the world. And in Europe, the Fosway Group are Europe's leading independent HR analysts. They have Gomo as the leading core challenger in the authoring tools sector. You may not know this bit, but we are part of a bigger group. We're part of Learning Technologies Group, so we're delighted to sit inside the Learning Technologies Group alongside our sister companies, Leo, based out in Brighton, also in New York and Rio de Janeiro. They're one of the world's largest e-learning production houses, and they make significant use of Gomo to create content for their global customers. Uclea is a financial services training business, and again they're using Gomo to develop a lot of their new titles. Preloaded is a games with purpose business. They do fabulous educational learning games. Most interestingly from my perspective and Gomo's perspective is the acquisition of Rustici or Rustici, who LTG acquired in February of this year. Rustici, for those of you who know the industry and those that don't, Rustici look after e-learning standards like SCORM and XAPI, and big components of the Rustici technology stack are making their way into Gomo as we speak. So moving on, I'll now hand over to Dolf to talk about the background to the automotive industry. So over to you, Dolf.
Hi, thank you, Mike. Good afternoon to everyone here from I can also say a lovely sunny Sweden. Also very not true to Swedish colors this time of the year, but nevertheless very nice. Yes. I'd like to chat to you today about the motor industry and how we have come to use Gomo in a couple of the solutions we have implemented. Just to give you a bit of background of the motor industry today, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, the industry today is extremely competitive, and the introduction of new models of the frequency is unprecedented. I've never seen so many models come onto the market so quickly. It's actually frightening. And coupled with this is all the innovations like autonomous drive and alternative fuels and so forth, which makes it a fairly dynamic market environment that we are in. And to be an effective role player today in this environment, one must continuously aspire to be innovative, be flexible, and take calculated risks. You have to be able to do all this to be the new kid on the block or the latest kid on the block. As an organization, we conduct business in many markets and with many languages, and also need to be sensitive to different cultures and beliefs, and the role they play in developing and training people. So as you see now from this, it is as I mentioned, dynamic environment to especially try and develop and train people. Just to talk about Volvo itself, company started in the first cars rolled out in 1927, and it's now quite a well-known market or brand in the market. And we're selling vehicles in roughly about 100 markets or 100 countries today. We're owned by a Chinese group called Geely Holding Group, which bought us in 2010 from Ford Motor Company. We're still within the Volvo family, as our trademark is within our holding company, along with Volvo Trucks and Excavation and Volvo Penta, which is the boating industry. Our corporate brand strategy is called Designed Around You, which is basically human-centric. So everything we do, we believe it is built around the human, and everything within the car and around the car should be focused on the human. We have roughly about 2,300 dealers around the world. In these 100 countries or markets that we sell, and today we have about 29,000 people working from within the Volvo global corporate. That is not including all our dealerships. We have roughly about 53,000 people within our learning management system that we use. We sell cars in the premium segment. We have got sedans, versatile estates, and off-roaders, like for instance the cross-country XC60 and the XC90, the latest that we've launched now. In 2015 we sold for the first time over 500,000 cars, just north of 500,000 cars, which is the first time ever in our history. And we hold about, we are a small player in this market, but we hold about 1 to 2% of market share within the premium segment. Our main markets are, of course, Sweden, China, US, UK, Germany, and as I mentioned, Sweden, of course. Now, head office is here in Gothenburg, although we have now seen our 2 plants develop in Shanghai in China and Chengdu as well, which is becoming our second home market, I would say, due to our owners. We have various production plants and assembly plants scattered in Europe, as well as in Malaysia, and in the US we've got some design centers. Our long-term goal, or the goal up to 2020, is to sell roughly about 800,000 cars. So that's a bit about the background of Volvo. Mike, if you can click to the next slide there.
Yeah.
Right, when it comes to the actual training, and the question here is, why did Volvo need an authoring tool? Our retail competence team, which we basically, as the name says, focuses on our retail network, have basically got 2 responsibility areas. One is new products, which obviously we do the launch training for any car that we launch into our markets, and we have skill developments for the competency roles within our dealerships or sales units. Now, the new car training is basically a blended approach when it comes to learning. And we use all our e-learning type of tools, virtual classroom tools through PC, tablet, mobile devices, and so forth. And we combine that with a face-to-face approach as well. When it comes to the skills development program are facilitated by our market trainers, so they get their content basically developed from Central, which is the team where I sit in, which they download basically from our LMS. As a global business, we understand the need for market adjustments, and therefore we work on what we call an 80-20 rule. So we develop our material for our markets. 80% is global material, and then we allow for a 20% adjustment for local deviations, which we understand will be. This is where we realized the need for a tool like Gomo, a rapid authoring tool, which is quick in response. It's got good I'm battling all of a sudden with the language here. Collaboration and features, standardization, and quality control. So, in short, we needed something that can work quick, that we can have teams around the world working on the same project at the same time with minimum downtime to answer that question. So yeah, so a bit of a background on Volvo, a bit of a background on what we actually do and why we see the need for Gomo.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dolf. We'll move on. I think Hugh is now going to do the first round of questions to the audience.
Yes, thank you, Mike, and thank you very much, Dolf. I'm sure that that sparks some ideas already with those of you tuning in. I just wanted to really throw back questions to you there in the audience, really to get your views and your experience at the moment that we're hearing about how to deliver learning within a global organization like Volvo. And really wanted to know about things like whether you have a bring your own device policy already within your organization. About are you already using mobile devices for e-learning delivery? Where does that fit within your organization? So we're just going to take a few moments. If you could just let us know your thoughts using the question panel, and we'll just have a look at those and begin to feed that back to everyone. And also, please feel free just to raise general questions as well. And if we don't answer them immediately, then there'll be a question and answer session at the end as well.
So do you just want to repeat the questions there, Hugh?
Yes, certainly. So what we're looking at are your thoughts around about whether you have a bring your own device policy, about whether your company is already delivering e-learning using mobile devices. So we're getting a few thoughts coming in here, but Rob, you're saying that you don't have any formal implementation, but the capability is there for mobile. And you're saying that you don't have an actual BYOD, bring your own device policy, but creating content which is responsive and future ready. And I think that can be one of the key things about, we find that a lot of organizations might not be immediately rolling out to mobile with their learning, but they realize that that's the way that things are going. So, Rob, you're saying that your LMS supports it, but we're not promoting it. But actually, one of the other comments that we've had there is the problems that people have an LMS, but it's not yet mobile ready. So they might have the responsive and adaptive e-learning content, but they're hindered by what their LMS is capable of. And Marta, you're saying that we don't use the mobile yet, but intend to start. But you're saying that your company has challenges with translation and customization for different audiences, and maybe how Volvo can solve these. We can certainly address those because that's very much a challenge for a lot of our global customers. And Nigel, you're saying that that you don't have a bring your own device policy, but you do encourage iPad use during training. And yes, you're saying that your LMS is not mobile ready. And Mike, welcome, Mike. Mike O'Brien there. You're saying that as developers, you're starting to see executive review and stakeholder sign-off coming from executives on mobile devices versus desktop. And again, yes, I think that that can be driven by suddenly the CEO has an iPad or whatever and wants to be able to access everything on that. And Annie, you're making a very good point there that millennials are expecting this type of learning, so short, bite-sized chunks of learning and being able to access it at any time, anywhere to learn at the point of needing to. And just a few more comments coming in here. Another comment here from just one more from Sue. And you have a query there about the 20% adjustment. So I think that we'll have a look at those issues when we come to the question and answer session. So I'll just make a note of your question there and make sure that we address that to Dolf towards the end. So thank you very much for those thoughts and that feedback there. And Mike, I'll now hand it back over to you. Thank you.
Fantastic, and thanks for everybody for putting their thoughts in. Some common themes that we've heard about before, LMSs without a mobile capability, but also some interesting new angles as well. And it's great to hear that a lot of people are already thinking about responsive capabilities and perhaps even building responsive content today, even if they don't have a responsive LMS, because they know it's coming soon. And I especially like the one about the CEO's got an iPad and all of a sudden everything needs to be on the iPad, and we've heard that one numerous times. So moving on, I've got a few questions I'd like to put to Dolf now. So first one, and probably one that a lot of people are thinking about, and we've touched on a little bit of it, but what problem did you want to address, Dolf, by using Gomo?
Mike, as I mentioned in the opening or introduction section, is our industry is extremely dynamic, and we have to push out new models as quick as possible to stay a player. And sometimes what happens in the learning environment is as soon as a car has been specified and spec'd and we're starting to get the information through to turn into training material, these specifications change as engineers or designers decide to add something to the car. And this generally, as I wouldn't say as a rule of thumb, but as it happens, this always happens when we have already written training material and starting to broadcast or starting to push it through our channels into our markets. So to change things while you have something up and running was a big problem for us. And we found that by using Gomo, because it is so quick and the turnaround time of changing certain concepts, trainings, or informations or messages is so much easier with Gomo that you can just do your changes and punch it out, and the new information is ready available. So that was the main reason for starting, was that we had the ability to change very quickly, be flexible very quickly.
Fantastic, thank you. So before you had Gomo, how did you manage those challenges? What did you used to have to do to try and meet those demands?
Well, first I had a lot of grey hair, but no. To be serious, no, it was extremely difficult. With some of the other tools that we have, that we still use, every tool has its place, I believe, but some of the other tools that we use, the traditional creation tools, we would post something out, and then either new information would come in, we'd have to take it all down, do the changes, which is normally a lengthy process. If there's translations, as somebody mentioned in there, that needs to be adapted. And something like that could take anything between a week to 5 weeks to repair. And when you have fixed the one change, they've decided to change another 2 things on the line. So this became an issue of just chasing changes the whole time. And sometimes it was just corrected with a PDF document in the mail, which is not extremely professional, and your learning gets lost in between as well. So yeah, it was a cumbersome process.
Okay, and last question, Dolf, before we move on. Were there any specific features that you required in the authoring tool that you were looking for when you sort of happened upon Gomo in particular?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, and one of the callers picked up on it, the 80-20 rule is we want our markets to be able to author as well, because they're sitting with if they have the ability to author where they sit with information that we not necessarily have at our fingertips. Local legislations and things like that. So it is easy for them to edit a course that we do and add those type of stuff in. So we wanted something that people could co-author or collaborate easy. That was one of the reasons. The others were basically the speed that we could do the changes, as I mentioned. That was a one, and the collaboration, as I mentioned as well. There's once you start using the collaboration and blocking certain work that they can't change, it becomes very user friendly. And once you have the proper working processes and flow in place.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dolf. Back to Hugh for question time number 2. A couple more questions for the audience.
Hi, yes, thank you, Mike. And certainly the issues that you've been discussing there, Dolf, certainly seems to be resonating with a lot of people. And we just wanted to open it up again to have a look at your ideas, particularly around about within your organization, whether you feel that you have buy-in from board level with regards to learning and development. Also, one of the problems can be that just how many bits of software at the moment do you feel that you need to be able to create your own e-learning, and how many bits are actually using? So what are the obstacles that you're finding in terms of what you're trying to do in learning and development? So please do just type in your thoughts and your questions into the question panel, and we'll just feed that back to everyone as they begin to come in. And also, that while you've been talking as well, Dolf, one of the questions that came in was about how does Volvo train? Do you train dealers directly, or do you use national importers? Has been the question coming from Berno there.
Our team, as I mentioned, sit here at head office in Sweden at Volvo Car Corporation. So what we do is we train the trainers that are doing the training in the markets, in our national sales companies or in our importers. So we don't physically train dealer staff, but we do have a reach to dealer staff when it comes to web learnings. And those type of learnings come straight from us, straight to the end user when it comes to typical mobile tools. So we have the ability to reach right up to the user, to the end user, which we see as a salesperson or a technician. But our core training, if you want to call that, what we physically do is train our trainers to use tools, to use programs, and obviously to supply them with the information.
Right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Dolf. Yes, because you can also see that people are asking about again this issue about the 80-20, about how you then let people right in the different regions, how you actually let them get access to the content, how you pass that over to them, how do you quality control that. So do you have some thoughts about that process and maybe some of the barriers you've had in the past?
Yes, all those comments coming out are extremely relevant, and I have also had some issues with quality control and how do you get messages out and let people change some stuff and still have the base message. Now with Gomo, what we can do is you can the content that you would write. So when I'm talking about 80-20 rule, the content that we write from a global perspective, we lock in Gomo. So even if you have editing rights, you cannot change that content. So typical stuff, the stuff that we are known for, the safety, the technical specs, or whatever the case might be, that you can view from a global perspective that does not change irrespective of which market that car is in, is content that we see falls in the 80 percentile bracket. Now those are the content that we can lock. The 20% is the market related stuff. Now we also have the ability in Gomo to lock templates in place. So we force, by using templates in Gomo, we basically force people to write the right way, to make it look the right way, because they cannot change these things. They can only change the content on a page that we allow them to change. And of course, we can view from global whatever is written, we will be able to view. And that's a matter of having a bit of an audit process, that you do some spot auditing every now and then to see if everyone is still on track. And obviously you need to do some standardized training as well around how to use your templates and how to use this tool. It's not a matter of just handing an NSC a Gomo authoring license and tell them you're ready to author. You can do. There's obviously a bit of training and a bit of process flow within that as well.
Great, thank you, Dolf. And also we have some other thoughts coming in that Rob, you're saying that template creation is also very important to you as well, and we'll be having a look at that when we have a look at some of the courses that Dolf has been developing for Volvo. And also, you're saying, Rob, that your needs focus on the demands of the training users on proprietary software applications. So you find that you tend to have to use multiple authoring apps. And also, Marta, you're saying that your challenges are maybe with creating animations, using live characters, interactive features, all of which must be developed by our programmers, which is very time-consuming. So those are some of the challenges that you've been facing. So Mike, I'll hand back over to you now for the next section.
Thank you, and thank you again, Dolf. So we're now going to start looking at the solution and what Volvo have implemented, how they've implemented it, and what the content looks like, which I'm sure loads of you are dying to see. But before all that, we'll just ask Dolf a few questions. So first of all, Dolf, how did you hear about Gomo?
Well, this answer is basically twofold. We had some contact with a previous company called Line, which now has turned into Leo Learning, which is part of the group that you are in, as well as from the learning technology shows that we've been attending. So through that, we've obviously come across this, and you know, seeing what Gomo could do, or what it was advertised as able to do, we sort of took an interest in see if that would be a solution for us.
Fantastic. And following that, did you trial the authoring tool?
Yes, what we did is I sort of, being one that is not a program writer when it comes to e-writing or online writing, thought that if I could write it, anybody could write it. So what we did is we sort of, I took a trial on it and developed a sort of course just using my trainer background, drawing on that knowledge, and build a quick sort of 10-15 minute learning solution, or learning solution, and let it run through our channels in our LMS and get it posted and broadcasted, and we saw that it didn't take me long at all to, first of all, learn how to use Gomo, and second of all, to actually get this process done, and even get a change done while it's up. So yes, I was, I suppose, the guinea pig for this project.
Fantastic. How do Volvo create content with Gomo then? Could you just talk us around the sort of the way you're using it now?
We use some in-house writers, which are mainly our own trainers, and some other of our people that sit within in our retail organization, like for instance retail marketing and so forth, that will give us some content. But we tend to try and stick with our in-house trainers. And then for bigger projects, which we then need maybe some specialist help, we will use third-party suppliers. These third-party suppliers, we have now basically asked them to acquire Gomo licenses, which they can obviously use for whatever purpose they want. It's their licenses, but if they would like to produce work for us, it would need to be in Gomo, as we would like to do the whole Gomo thing with our markets. So a little bit of a third party with a Gomo license, and otherwise we do in-house.
Fantastic, thank you. And how long did it take Volvo to implement Gomo and start to see the improvements in the process that you've talked about?
Well, I suppose when we talk about implementation, we're not completely finished with implementation. I think you must take it that we only started with this in quarter 4 in 2015, and then we started implementing. So our full implementation plan is not done yet, but for those places that we have implemented, the feedback has been very good, and we've actually some of our internal organizations have also latched onto Gomo. Like for instance, our R&D department has realized that Gomo is a solution that they can use to actually train up their suppliers on anything that they would need from a supplier. So typically how certain stuff needs to work or whatever. So they can actually train their suppliers before they supply their material. That was one instance, and we have some other various other areas within our business that's got nothing to do with training that also latched onto this, which is broadened our implementation a little bit. I think slowed it a bit down to our own detriment, but yeah, we found some users that we didn't even think that will actually use Gomo within our own organization.
Fantastic, thank you for that. So I'm going to move on to the next slide here because it's already 15:36 here. So let's go and have a look at the sample course now and show one of the examples of how Volvo are using Gomo. And this one's called the SPA, or is it SPA Test Drive. Could you just talk us around the background to this, Dolf, and then I'll show this course on the screen?
Yeah, when we launched our latest edition in our SPA range cars, which is the V90, V and S90, after we've done the training to our market trainers and they were busy setting up their training plans, we felt the need that because this is a whole new sort of area of technology and development in our cars, that we would probably need, and as well as this car is aimed at a different market, we needed to give our salespeople a little bit more information around how to actually do a proper test drive in one of these vehicles, how to bring out the features and benefits to the customer or end user. So we kind of immediately drew on the capabilities of Gomo, and we wrote this course. It's got a couple of videos in it, and typically shows in a salesman customer scene or setting how you would test drive and how you would express certain features to a customer. So we're adding on to the already trained material or material that they received from the trainer event. That's one of the reasons why we actually developed this particular course.
Fantastic, thanks. So I'll just run through a few screens of this course. I've got it on my iPad, so hopefully that's showing up on the screen for you, so you can see how this course looks on the iPad. And because it's built in Gomo, it's responsive HTML5, it's iPad and smartphone friendly, so everything that's being developed by Volvo is going to work perfectly. It'll work on any device, any screen size, any orientation, and that's one of the beauties of Volvo. So Gomo, you build a course once, and the content's going to work on all of the devices. So even if your LMS isn't mobile friendly yet, you can still use Gomo and deliver desktop courses. When your LMS becomes mobile friendly, you know that your courses are going to work quite happily on smartphones and tablets as well.
The all-new XC90 is an easy car to drive, and throughout the design process we've really focused on the experience of relaxed confidence.
Mike, you might want to mention that some of the lag that they're seeing is due to the GoToMeeting rendering the screens and not Gomo. It flows very, very smoothly on Gomo.
Thanks, Tom. Yes, hopefully the video may be a little bit juddery as it goes through GoToWebinar, but I can assure you I'm seeing it perfectly here. So that's the introduction from one of the engineers, and then we'll have a look at the test drive mode with the introduction to the driving modes, and then how do you demonstrate those as a member of dealer staff.
As the full package, as mentioned, and all the drive modes, which make it a really great car to drive. The car will automatically start in comfort mode, so when you drive it away, straight away, it'll be smooth, comfortable, and that's when off of there you can select the other drive modes that you need for any road conditions that you might pick up on your journey. And of course, a lot of us just do local journeys, commuting from home around the areas that we live. And comfort mode is a good mode for the car to stay in to do all of those. So driving through this little village like we are here now, can be in comfort mode, and it's just as mentioned, makes it feel prosperous with the driving. Again, if fuel consumption is an issue, then we can switch across then to eco mode just by doing that. All of a sudden, it will just reduce the air conditioning down in the ancillary electrics.
So you're able to watch all of the training videos with the dealer there, showing people the various ways to conduct a test drive, and then we've got the assessment at the end, which I will probably get completely wrong as I go through here, but knowledge check, which will report back both to Gomo and to the LMS on how well I or the various Volvo dealers are doing as they go through it. And as you can see, I've scored 0% on that particular quiz. Obviously not qualified to be a Volvo salesperson just yet. Yes.
Mike, could I? Oh, sorry, I was just going to jump in with a question that came through here while you had it on screen. That there was a question about how does the transcript work? Maybe if you just went to a video, if there's a transcript in there, just to.
Yeah, I've got it on here as well. So if we jump in on, so this is the version on the on my desktop, so you can see that the course will work on my iPad, it'll work on my smartphone. And then the transcript is down at the bottom here. So I get the written transcript below the video. So if you're visually impaired, you can, if you can't hear, you can read the transcript. Okay, so thank you. So back to the presentation. Thank you for talking us through that one, Dolf. And let's just have a quick look at Gomo. I really will have to fly this because we are running out of time a little bit with all the fabulous questions that are coming in, but that's great stuff anyway. So just to talk about Gomo as a tool, this diagram shows you the Gomo learning architecture. Everything on the left is the authoring tool, and everything on the right is the hosting and analytics platform, and Volvo used both of these to create and deliver content. As a designer in Gomo, you'll log in through a web browser, so we're cloud-based, and this is how you get the full collaboration that Dolf talked about. As many people as you want can work on a course at the same time. If you need to get a course out super quick, put 10 people on the production process. We've got built-in online review, and this touches on to the comment that came in earlier on about the CEO having an iPad, and he now wants to see the courses on his iPad so he can make his comments. That's built into Gomo, so you can comment directly onto the course rather than sending to the spreadsheets or emails. And we do have standard SCORM publishing out of Gomo, so if you need to publish a course into a SCORM LMS, you can do that. However, if you take Gomo hosting and analytics, which is what Volvo have done, you can really speed up the distribution of content. So instead of publishing a disconnected course, publish to Gomo, and you then get a whole range of distribution options. This one's not being used by Volvo, it's Gomo Central. It's effectively a mini LMS, but it's there and it's available, so you can brand it up, invite people to log in and consume courses. We have the brand new Gomo Central app. So if users want to take their content when they're offline and disconnected, they can download courses to their phone or tablet through the Gomo Central app and consume them. We generate embed codes. So if you want to embed a Gomo course inside any web page, you can do that from the embed code. We can also generate direct links. If you just want to tweet a course, stick it on Facebook, LinkedIn, email it to somebody, you've got all of those options. The one that Volvo are using is a really neat bit of technology called the Gomo LMS wrapper, and this is a micro file. So instead of sending your LMS a huge file, 200 megabyte file with video and audio and text and graphics and so on, you can send the LMS, the Gomo LMS wrapper. It's a micro file, it's usually 12 or 13 kilobytes. That goes into the LMS. As far as the LMS is concerned, it's a SCORM course, so it looks like SCORM, it runs like SCORM, and it tracks like SCORM. However, the content stays on the Gomo servers. And the beauty of this is that, first of all, you're only uploading a 13 kilobyte file to your LMS, but more importantly, and as Dolf said, everything changes in the automotive industry. If you need to change a course that's just gone live in your LMS with Gomo, all you do is edit it in Gomo, republish in Gomo, and your LMS will instantly see the new changes. You don't have to republish, rescorm, rezip, re-FTP, re-upload, re-download, and all of the things that used to take Dolf and his team something like 5 weeks to do can be done in about 30 seconds. With all of those distribution options, you also get full XAPI analytics. So the Volvo LMS will tell Dolf that Mike just took that course on how to do a test drive. Mike spent 10 minutes in there and he scored 0% on the quiz, for example, because I wasn't particularly good. But with XAPI Analytics, Dolf can also see that Mike was taking that course on an iPad, and he can see exactly which screens I visited, which questions I've got right and wrong. And again, it's this kind of deep analytics that can allow you to improve learning outcomes and hopefully improve the quality of your learning content. We've probably haven't got time really to show Gomo because it's 15 minutes to the top of the hour, but I'd be delighted obviously post this event to give people a full demo of Gomo. But let's focus on Volvo and their experience in the automotive sector. So we'll come on to the testimonials page, and these are just some of the testimonials that Volvo have been getting from users, Volvo China, their customer experience systems. Just wondered, Dolf, from your perspective, if you've got any words around this and the results that you're seeing with Gomo and the feedback that you're getting as the sort of champion of Gomo within Volvo, if you could.
Yes, well, as you see the Volvo R&D centered one there, so they have taken to it like a duck to water, and they're very happy with it. Some of our other units there on the right hand side, the big thanks for helping me on board. It's a really great tool. That's one of our customer experience systems programmer, which is extremely able to write very good courses in a lot of systems, and he knows systems, so he's very chuffed with this one. And then even our fellow Volvo employees in China has found this extremely easy to use, even though we have issues with IT security in China. This seems to not be a problem with them receiving and using content. So I think at this stage it's difficult for us to show concrete results. We should be able to show it after soon now after the launch of this of our latest car. But everything is showing positive for us at this stage. So yes, I can't bring any negatives right now. Apart from me, maybe could have been a little bit more clever in using it. But that's just
no comment, Dolf. Thank you for that. Okay, that's great. So thank you for that. And it's just coming up to 10 minutes to the top of the hour. So we promised you an hour-long webinar. So Hugh, perhaps if any interesting questions have been coming in, you could share those with us, and any answers that you've got, or obviously any questions for Dolf or myself, the pair of us will be delighted to answer those.
Yes, thank you very much, Mike and Dolf. Yes, actually, we've been having a whole flood of questions coming in via the question box. And one of them, questions from Steve here, is saying that the course you showed looked very Volvo branded. So how did you actually achieve that?
Okay, so that was achieved by something called themes, and let me just show you in Gomo just how this works. I know we haven't really seen Gomo, but I'll just take this opportunity to show you Gomo. This is my Gomo account. These are all the projects I've got access to, but Gomo uses a concept called themes. Themes control the look and feel of courses. Gomo comes with 6 or 7 themes out of the box. They're all highly configurable, so you can take a Gomo theme and change the colors, change the background images, change the fonts and the logos and all of that sort of stuff. But for customers like Volvo and others, we also have a custom theme development service. So for customers who've got really very precise branding expectations, they really need something that's absolutely 100% mapped to their brand, then we can develop a custom theme. So we did one of those for Volvo, but we've also done them for Dunhill, Nike, Bayer, Deloitte, Burberry. You can imagine how much fun we had with that one. That's probably the most exotic theme we've ever done. British Airways, Grainger, EE, Accenture, Federal Reserve Bank, PwC, and there's the Volvo theme as well. So it's all done by themes, but the nice thing about themes is, first of all, they're global and they're separate from content. So if you've built a course using a theme, if you built 100 courses using a theme, and if Volvo suddenly rebrand next week with a new logo or color scheme, as big corporations are likely to do, all Dolf has got to do is update the theme, and 100 courses will instantly pick up the new look and feel. They're also great for ensuring design consistency, and again, I remember Dolf mentioning this. The courses come out Volvo branded, exactly as Volvo wanted them to look through the use of themes. Thank you, Hugh.
Great, thanks, Mike. Yes, we have some other questions here. That question that Nigel asked earlier. Dolf, Nigel's asking, what software solutions were you using prior to Gomo, and do you still have a need for that to supplement Gomo? I'm not sure whether that's something that you can answer.
Unfortunately, there is some solutions that we still use. However, I'm not too familiar with them. That was used before I came on board here. I know that there are some of them still being used, not by our department, however, but some of the our other departments are using more, I would say, bigger, or not bigger, I don't really know how to express that, but there are some other solutions used. However, for at the moment, we only look at Gomo because this is fulfilling the need we have right now. I can't tell you in the future, but right now we have only got Gomo.
Also, Helen is asking about how do you deal with sort of multi-language versions of courses, and how important is that to an organisation like Volvo?
Oh yeah, well definitely we do roughly 22 languages. So how we tackle that is Gomo's also got a feature for a translation feature where you can select the language that you want to view your course in. And to do the translations in Gomo is fairly easy. It's just a download of a XLIF file. Translation agency works on it, and you upload the XLIF file back into the Gomo. Or what we sometimes do is we do 22 duplicates of the course, which is easy. Once you've done your master, you just duplicate it 22 times, and you send 22 XLIF file packages to your translation agency. If you do have a change, then there's a couple of ways you can work with it, depending on the size of the change. What we've done before as well, we've got an extreme good relationship with our NSCs, obviously, and the competence development departments in the NSCs. And if there's something that needs to be changed, we get them to change it for us in their language. So that's how we sort of bypass some of our restrictions as well. Our NSCs understand how quick we have to work, and they work with us when we have these solutions as well.
Right, thanks a lot, Dolf. And also a question here about how important was a cloud-based solution for you?
Oh, very. Our LMS, like most other LMSs, if you clog it with too much or too big a video files, especially, we don't know what the users on the other side have in terms of IT solutions, broadband sizes, and so forth. So with Gomo Cloud, it takes care of that because it's not running through your LMS; it's running off the cloud. So it was extremely important that we had something that, although the security had to be there, so the access still goes through our LMS, the program actually runs off the cloud after you have received or after you've gained access. So yeah, cloud was extremely important to us.
Great, thank you very much, Dolf. And just to clarify, Mike, just one for you. You mentioned about themes, and Rob's just asking, is that the same as a template?
Yes and no is the answer to that, I guess. Themes really control the look and feel of the course. That's what they're primarily responsible to. We also have templates, which are screen templates, and their layouts. So, you know, video on the left, video on the right, audio left and right, and all those sorts of things. So in other authoring tools, I think that's what you'd know as a template. So theme is really the visual layer. Templates are the screen layouts, but they're fully configurable. So if you use templates in Gomo to build yourself a quick screen, then you can configure it to your heart's content. So I hope that clears up that particular question. It's 3 minutes to the top of the hour. We do have to finish bang on, and we promised everyone this would take no longer than an hour. So I think that's it for the questions. If we haven't answered everyone's questions fully, we've got them all noted down. So we'll drop you a line with the answers to the questions if we haven't answered them to your satisfaction. First of all, then, just a few thank yous. I'd obviously clearly like to thank Dolf Smuts from Volvo Cars for taking the time, not just today, but all the preparation that's gone into this, and for giving us some fantastic insights to the automotive industry, to Volvo Cars, and also obviously their use of Gomo and the way they've been benefiting from it. Thank you to Hugh for hosting and looking after the Q&A sessions and so forth. If you do want to contact us, you've all had our contact details via the various emails, but my name is Mike Alcock, and my email address is on the screen now. I look after most of the globe for Gomo, but I'd also like to introduce, and Tom was speaking earlier on briefly, Tom Tate. Tom Tate is our new business development manager for North America. So if you're in the USA and you'd like to speak to Tom, then again, his contact details are on the screen. You can also trial Gomo free for 21 days. You don't have to put your credit card in at the address at the bottom there, which is www.gomololearning.com, and that's our website, and it's full of all the wonders of Gomo and everything you'd ever need to find out about the product. So at 2 minutes to the top of the hour, I'd just like to say thank you, of course, to our audience for taking the time to look at this webinar this afternoon. We do appreciate you taking an hour out of your day. We hope you found it useful, and we look forward to speaking to you very soon as well. So thanks, everybody, for a great session, and I hope to speak to you again shortly. Thank you, and goodbye.
Mike?